Dominick Cruz had done an interview. Now, Dominick did an interview that I happened to watch. It was with Errol Hawani, and it was earlier in the week. I must say I didn't hear him say this, but I read that Dominick said it, and so I'm assuming it was within the same interview. But he was talking about he wishes that he just had, for himself, a flat fee, but that he also wishes for the industry that fighters just had a flat fee. Now, what he's talking about as a flat fee is, here's what you get to go out and compete. The standard of our industry, at least a lot more common, not an absolute, but it is you get what's called a show and a win bonus. You're paid to show, which is defined actually as weighing in. Many people don't know that. And then the bonus for winning is just that. You go through the competition, you get a win. Dominick was talking about it should be flat, but Dominick's point was, and I quote, so that the commissions quit screwing up people's careers. Okay. I like it. And I don't really care about the fee and or the money. That really isn't the point. I like to hear from Dominick. I really do feel that the only thing that is missing from Dominick Cruz and Dominick Cruz being in a world title opportunity is Dominick speaking up. Truly. Dominick, we all know how great Dominick is. My God, this guy is a legend. If there's anybody that is a lock for the Hall of Fame, it is Dominick Cruz. Not to mention he's a triple threat. He'll whip your ass, he'll comment on you whipping somebody else's ass, and he'll teach you in the gym how to kick somebody's ass. I mean, the guy's, he's got all his bases covered, right? From a competitor to an announcer to a coach. However, even I didn't realize how good he was till it was his last fight. I think it was fighting Pedro Munoz. It might have been 2 fights ago, but he's out there fighting, and John Anik reads for the world an announcement, a statistic on Dominick, that Dominick has never lost a fight that wasn't a world title fight. I had no idea. As good as he is, and as good as I know that I didn't know he was that good. And then his record, he's only lost like 4 fights total? How? If I'm wrong, it's 5 fights. If I'm wrong, it's 3 fights. I mean, it's how? I was in the WEC with Dominick Cruz in 2008, warming up behind a pipe and a drape with our opponents on the other side. He's getting ready to take on Uriah Faber. I'm getting ready to take on Paulo Filho. That was in 2008. Dominick Cruz has only lost 5 fights ever? What are you talking about? That's incredible. And he's still active to this day. Not to mention Dominick versus Aljo is a fascinating match. And Aljo got asked about that and said what I just said. He said, of course I would fight Dominick Cruz. Of course I would like to fight Dominick Cruz. And even complimented Dominick and said what a beautiful name that would be to have on his resume and how much he respects Dominick. I'm telling you, the only thing stopping Dominick Cruz from getting that fight is Dominick Cruz. Why isn't he speaking up? Dominick speaks up on Ariel about pay, and as it pertains to a commission, that is completely uninteresting. And I heard it. I remember I'm talking to you guys about it. I will listen to anything that Dominick says. He's just not saying very much. Why is that? I think it's a combination. Quite frankly, if I was to guess, I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of him, 1, being a coach, so he wants to, right, he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. And 2, being an announcer, right? He doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. He doesn't want to use that platform and overstep in something that he would view as a conflict of interest within his own career. I think it's polite. I think it's very professional. I don't know that Dominick's doing anything wrong, but I will take my same stance. The only thing stopping Dominick Cruz from being a main event and being opposite for a world championship fight, which it sounds like he deserves, by the way, he's only lost in world championship fight. What are you talking about? Anderson Silva can't make that claim. Vanderlei Silva can't make that claim. Fedor Emelianenko can't make that claim. That isn't an... Daniel Cormier can't make that claim. Let's think about that. Daniel Cormier might be able to make that claim. I think you get my point. So when Dominick is speaking up, I feel like we need to speak up for him. I still feel like the fight to be made, and I hear that it's going to Dillashaw. I have no problem with that. None. I know that Cejudo would be right in the mix. I have no problem with that. Dominick Cruz should be the 3rd name and should be eligible for that. I don't hear anybody speaking about it. And as far as the win and show go, that is a very interesting comment by Dominick. And I couldn't say for sure if he's right. There are decisions that are very hard. There are decisions that are so hard in the past that Dana White has gone to a press conference absent of who won and said, I'm paying that guy his win money. Where Dana personally did not agree and publicly even said, I'm going to pay this guy his money. That's happened more than just a few times. But I will tell you, as a performer or as a competitor, there was a real incentive there. Like, that pay structure did really make for an incentive That's true. And I suppose that would be to each his own. And I don't know that there's a right or wrong answer that I really want to weigh in on that, but there is something to be said for it. And it does come back to a built-in narrative that has been existing this entire week of, do we have disagreements with the judges? I don't think that we do. I'm as tied to this sport as anybody. I know that controversy creates cash more than anybody. I understand that clickbait is a very real thing as well as anybody. Is there a topic here? There was a split decision over the weekend that involved Holly Holm and her opponent, Vieira. I'm close on the name. The three judges didn't agree and or disagree. It was a split decision. Oh, and by the way, I couldn't name those judges. I'm not looking to be a dick. I'm sharing for you that this isn't even a real topic. It's so unreal of a topic that I couldn't state for you the judges. I couldn't state who had it one way. I couldn't state for you who assented it with the other way. This isn't like an actual phenomenon going on. It's a make-believe phenomenon, which I'm happy to participate in, but I do feel that somebody needs to be the voice of reason, which there were things that happened within that match that you do have to break down. How are you going to score the potential submission? Are you going to score it at all? If you tell me you're not going to score that for the opponent, Vieira, is that right, guys? If you tell me you're going to give her absolutely no credit, I'm not going to disagree with you. You have the right to that interpretation and that opinion. If you don't want to weigh on setups and techniques and what's close, I don't know anything within the bylaws that say you're wrong. On the other side of that coin, to be completely fair, if you do want to credit her as the most meaningful technique of the round and it favored her, I'm not going to disagree with you. I know where within the rules and the bylaws that is very open to interpretation and there was no specific clarity given. Dominick Cruz personally had a fight. He fought against Uriah Faber. And Dominick was knocked down in 2 different rounds. 2 different rounds, Faber knocked him down. And no judge gave Faber either round. Dominick won the decision. I agreed with those judges. And I even had this back and forth with Uriah face-to-face where he said, hey, Chael, I knocked him down and I don't win the round. I don't win either of those rounds I knocked him. I should for sure win 2 rounds. There was 2 knockdowns. They were in separate rounds. I disagree. I thought Dominick came back. I thought he did more damage. I mean, that's a boxing rule. You knock somebody down or they lose their footing or they slip or however it is you want to word it, where one of your actions takes a person from their feet down to the canvas, it's very looked at differently in MMA, and there's nothing within the bylaws that you could point to specifically, but you could in boxing. It is very specific. I'm just sharing this with you because I don't know where this make-believe conversation is going to go. There is a make-believe narrative that is not existent in our sport. There is not a huge back and forth right now. And for the people that are pretending that there is a back and forth between the judges and the athletes are yet to answer any questions very specifically, such as the one I just put out there. How are you as a judge going to score and going to rule the catch that Holly Holm was in? It was the most meaningful technique of the round. It almost ended the fight, but it didn't. And when she got out of it, there wasn't a scratch on her and she wasn't any worse for the wear. So you're going to have 2 sides that are going to be able to debate that. And I only share for you that you can rinse and repeat that over the course of 5 rounds. Of every fight, of every night, of which this card happened to have 11. That sounds appropriate to me. I don't see what the problem here is. I like Dominick's point. I like that Dominick's speaking up. I hope the next time Dominick speaks up, I hope he calls for a title shot. And I have a feeling if Dominick starts calling for a title shot, by the way, he's going to get it.